Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we unfortunately lost in the second round only to the Colorado Avalanche, so they finally got the best of us. So yeah, it kind of sucks that we got eliminated, but at least we still have 2 cups in like the last 4 seasons, I think it is now. So hopefully we can get at least another shot at winning another Stanley Cup, but it kind of sucked because it was against a couple former players in Colorado, including Stefan Pettersson, and then also we traded Tukinen and Emilio Redmond there last offseason. They bring in Cale Makar, and then unfortunately, it got Colorado to the Stanley Cup Finals where they lost, but it didn't get us to the Cup Finals. So that was unfortunate, but this team is still really good, and this is offseason. I think we have a lot of question marks just because of we might be losing some specific players, like for example, Calvin Shelley might be on his way out, depending on what his asking price is, and if we need to sign other players in first before then, because Kagerodov is technically taking over his roster spot. It seems like unless I want to play the two of these guys on the same line, and like Shelley is a left winger or Kagerodov is a left winger instead. I'm pretty sure, yeah, they're both right-handed shots. Actually, no, Shelley's a left-handed shot, so there's a chance if we do have the cap space, I could try and bring back Shelley, but at the same time, I don't know if it really makes much sense to. And then, yeah, there's a couple other big guys that are up for renewal this year, including Austin Matthews, obviously, who we signed last offseason to a 1-year deal. Bentley's up for renewal, which I don't know if he's going to be able to come back. It depends if we bring back Matthews or not, because you can see that he wants 7.9, and he's listed, I believe, as a second line forward. So probably if we were to let go of Matthews, Bentley would probably be the second line center. Shishkinov also might be gone potentially because he's wanting a lot of money at the moment. McGillis might be on the way out just because of the amount of younger guys coming into the NHL, like Yoshimura, for example. But then we also have a lot of RFAs just to qualify and whatnot. But hopefully we have a decent amount of cap space that we could bring back mostly everybody on this roster, because I'd like to keep this team as good as possible. Anyways, before we get into the draft and the resign stage, I do have one comment to go over, and that is from HawksFan88. He says, I think you should be able to resign all your big pieces. Shishkinov might have to go, though, based on what he's asking for. Also, this looks like a great draft for low leads, so I would take as many as you could find. Lynch should definitely be your first pick. So, first, let me take a look and show you guys what Shishkinov wants for his contract, because it might dip down once we get to the actual resign stage, but right now, he's trying to get over $11 million, so there is a good chance that Shishkinov might be leaving this team, especially if he is actually asking for that much. But you can kind of see that he's been progressively getting better every year of his career, and this year he had 86 points in 82 games. I don't know if it's because he was playing with a good shooter or whatnot, but he was just passing the puck really well, and he scored a career-high in goals, so it would really suck to lose Shishkinov, but at the same time, it might make sense too. And I don't really think he's worth paying $11 million to, but he might end up being, who knows, because if we do let go of Shelley, then there's a chance we could bring back Shishkinov, so, but yeah, it's going to be a very tough decision regardless. Also, he says this is a good draft for low leads, and that we should probably take Lynch with our first pick, so let me show you guys the draft class again quickly before we actually get into the draft. So, he said it looks like a good draft for low leads, so let's just take a look first at all the low lead potential players. I don't remember exactly. Oh yeah, there's a lot of low leads here. This guy's supposed to go in the second round, but there's a good chance we won't be able to get that guy because he's early second round. So yeah, that guy's 3 years out. There's this gem guy that we're definitely going to be going after, this OFD. I think he could be a decent pickup for sure, even though he's 20 years old. So that might be one of our late round picks. And then, yeah, we're definitely going to be going for Lynch with our first pick because he looks like he could be a pretty good offensive player. He's a little bit of a smaller guy, so he might be a little bit injury prone, or he might not throw a lot of hits, but he's 2 years out. And if he's a low lead that's 2 years out, then he's probably going to be like a 65 or something, maybe a 68, maybe a 70 even. So we'll definitely take him, and that's probably the only low lead we might be able to get, unless some of these other guys are low leads as well. So there is that, and yeah, hopefully we could get Lynch to this roster, and hopefully this team could look pretty good again going into next season, because like I basically was telling to Hawks fan, I was like, basically our roster is kind of similar in the stage of where we were a few years ago, where we have a lot of really good roster players, but eventually we wean the younger guys into the lineup, like we just put them on the fourth line, and eventually they will take over those spots. So that's kind of what we did with like Kagerodov, for example. So Anyways, let's get into this draft and see what we can pick up here, and hopefully we can get some good prospects in for the system, and that will help us out in terms of winning another Stanley Cup at some point. Because, like I said, I don't know how good this team's going to be this next season, just because we might lose somebody big like Shelley. But I think we should be still pretty competitive if we can contain this roster together for the most part. Okay, so Toronto's got the first overall pick, followed by Calgary, the Rangers, the Canucks, and the Canes. So 3 Canadian teams with picks in the top 5, which is interesting. Let's see who Toronto takes at number 1. They're going to take Suglobov, who's an 80 overall sniper. We'll look at this guy. So a little bit of a low overall, but good shooting categories. If he develops well enough, he will be probably a good Richard winner at some point. Calgary at number 2 is going to take another 80 overall, and that is Eakin. He's another sniper as well. Pretty similar shooting categories between the two first overall picks, or the first two picks. The only thing is Eakin is 1 year younger, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, those two are a little bit of low overalls. Like, any of these guys could go first overall right now at this point, so this might be a little bit of a weaker draft class in a sense in terms of the first 5 picks. Third overall, the Rangers are going to take another 80 overall power forward in Mishenko. Looks like he's also going to be pretty good shooting-wise, so I don't know who's going to become the best of the 3 of these. Like, if I had the first overall pick this year, I wouldn't know if I made the right decision at this point, because, like, all these guys are very similar players. 2 of them are checking forwards, one's a scoring forward, but still, it should be interesting to see which one of those 3 players becomes the better player. Vancouver at number 4 is going to take Penner, who's a 79 defensive defenseman, so that's also almost a similar overall. But obviously, since he's a DFD, this guy's not going to pick up a lot of points, but should be pretty rock solid on the back end, I would assume, for Vancouver. Carolina number 5 is going to take Pikkinen, who's a 78 two-way forward, so not too bad throughout the top 5 actually for like depth in terms of overall wise. Like, this guy is almost an NHL related player, but these guys are all like 2 points apart in overall, so legit, any of these guys could have been a first overall pick, I would say, at this point. Okay, let's sum up to our pick at number 26 and see if we can get Lynch. Hopefully we do, because where is he supposed to go? I want to make sure he's supposed to go around our spot, because if not, maybe we'll have to trade up and get him. Oh yeah, he was supposed to go in the 2nd round, that's right. Yeah, so we're definitely going to go with the Lynch here when we get the opportunity. Let's sum up to our pick. And okay, let's just take a quick look at what went before our pick, just because I occasionally do this, but I completely forget sometimes. So a lot of top 4 still going, and top 6 forwards, a lot of decent overalls, so this might be actually a pretty solid draft class, at least for the first round, before it's probably going to just like randomly dip off. 78 top 6 forward, wow, it's pretty high up for a 9th overall pick. 76 as well. Yeah, pretty solid draft, I would say, so far in terms of depth. Let's see what we can pick up here. Let's see. Yeah, Lynch is probably definitely the pick. If he's a low elite, that's 2 years out. He might be just a top 6 forward, that's 2 years out. But if he's a low elite, that's top like 2 years out. That's going to be really good. And he's got goal scoring almost as a strength, and elite speed. I would assume he's going to be probably a pretty quick skater, just based on the fact that he's only 5'9", 171. But who knows, and an offensive instinct. So yeah, this guy's definitely going to be our pick. So welcome to the Arizona Coyotes, Nicholas Lynch. Let's see if you are a low elite, in fact. And you are a low elite. Let's go. 66 overall too, and has X factors. Let's go. That's a really good pick. That is a really good pick. 66 overall, solid shooting categories already. He is a sniper. His speed is not really necessarily the best, but if it develops well enough, he's a small guy, so he should be able to skate pretty well. His defensive stats aren't really that great, but and his offensive awareness isn't that great yet too. But if he develops well enough, he should be a pretty good NHLer at some point. We might leave him unsigned for a year just because he won't be able to play in the AHL anyways, but I'm excited to see what this guy is about. He's got 1T as his zone ability, which I believe is the same as Kagorodov. He's got wheels, magnetic, shock and awe, and snipe. And that's another good right winger, so I don't really know if Shelley's even worth keeping on this team, because you got to think, we got Michkov, who's not leaving, we got Kagorodov, we got Yoshimura, who's a low elite that's just going to get into the NHL next season, and then Lynch is going to be eventually coming as well, so we got guys to replace already, like guys like Kagorodov at some point. But yeah, that's a really good pick there for us at number 26, especially with that guy supposed to go in the 2nd round. And looks like we don't have a pick until 80, so looks like we will bypass the entire second round, which is unfortunate, but I think that we traded away our second in the Cale McCarr trade. I don't remember exactly. So the Islanders, or no, not the Islanders, the Wild, want to take our third round pick for a fourth and a fifth, which I don't know why, but I'm going to decline that. I'm not going to do that because there's probably going to be something decent at this stage, I would assume. Let's see, Mestre. Mestre might have really good shooting. I don't know if he's going to be a low elite, but I might have to take Mestre because of that shooting potentially. Yeah, I think I got to go with Mestre because of that shooting category, because that very much intrigues me. Because I don't know too much about these other guys. I don't want to take a top 6 defenseman. And then, yeah, Mestre, just because of the fact that it's very close to being an A+ shooting. His rest of his categories don't look really that great, but if he has a really good shot, then we could always just throw him into a lineup with a good passer, and he might be able to score a lot of goals. So, Wes Mestre, welcome aboard. He's another smaller dude as well, 5'9" and 173. So, we're drafting the shorter dudes, but whatever. 64 low top 6, that's not too bad. Solid enough potential, might end up making it at some point, but look at that defensive awareness. That's pretty good for a playmaker that's apparently got good shooting. Yeah, he's a playmaker that has 69 passing, but he's got 85 shooting across the board. Huh, interesting. If his shooting develops even more into like the 90s, then that guy's going to be a really solid player. We got another third round pick here as well. I forgot about that. I guess we got that in a trade or something. There is this low lead that's supposed to go next round or 2 rounds from now. So I am not going to take him yet, I don't think. What other picks do we got in this draft? Just to make sure we actually have picks around that Schul spot. Yeah, we still have 2 4th rounders, a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th. So we still got a decent amount of picks. So we could kind of waste this one on a guess. Punos might have good physical strength and whatnot. He's 20 years old, but you know what? We're going to just pick this guy just because he might be a good physical defenseman, which is something we don't really have. Low top 4, not bad, 66. I have seen low top 4's potential pan out before with like Griffin in my Houston series. Not too bad, a little bit of a physical guy, 6'1", 205 only though. So not the biggest guy, but definitely will take that. Always fun to add more defensemen to our defensive prospect pool. Next picks, there's another low top 6. Might have to take Bolig here. Lacks size as well, 5'9", 185. A lot of short guys in this draft. Yeah, I'll take Tyson Bolig because why not? He's coming from Germany, so let's take him. And he is a low top 6, 66. So just got to hope that some of these low top 6s eventually pan out, because even though Bolig's 20 years old, he might become a really solid AHL player. Who knows? Next pick at 122. What are we going to take here? We're still in the 4th round. Do we want to take a goalie prospect in Norm Heatley? No weakness, apparently about 5 years out. Is this guy a little elite or no? Ooh, this guy looks kind of good. And 4 years out. You know what? We're going to take Ruben Cavana. 17 years of age and only 4 years out. Welcome to the team, Ruben. And he's a low top 9, 58, so a little bit worse than I expected, but he's apparently only 4 years out, which is kind of weird. But I don't see anything about him that's really that great, except for his skating. So, who knows, maybe he gets into the bottom 6 or into the AHL top 6 at some point. And now we could get that low lead. Yep, now we could get Matthias Schulz here. Like, he's kind of a weird pick because he's 20 years of age, listed as a gem and 5 years out. So yeah, I don't know how good this guy's going to be, if he's actually going to make it at all, but since he's an offensive defenseman as well, might as well take him. So welcome to the team, Matthias Schulz, and he's a 57 at 20, which is not really that great, but if he gets development really quickly, he could end up being something decent. He does have some solid offensive awareness out of the gate. Solid all around, actually, I should say, except for that physical category. He's not physical at all, which makes sense for an OFD, but hopefully this guy pans out into being a good offensive defenseman at some point. Next pick here, our 6th rounder. There's some bottom 6 forwards, which I might be okay with because some of them get to like 76. This guy actually has some decent shooting as well. He's 20 years old already as well, which is not great. 19-year-old. I think I'm just going to take Rousseau, even though he's 20. Might as well. Hopefully some of those guys get good development. 61 overall is not bad, but for a 20-year-old, it's a little bit bad. And our last pick of this draft, interesting. We're getting offered a 5th in elite goaltender, but he's signed till next season's, which is not good, for a 7th round pick. What the heck? Excuse me? I just guess he's a cap whale or something. But, like, Genoese is not a bad goalie. They just want to shed cap, it looks like. But the thing is, right now, we have Galiev still, and we have Korea. And the cap hit is probably a bit too much for me. Like, I don't want to pick up a guy that's making $9 million and then risk losing both Shelley and Shishkinov at the same time. So, I'm not going to do that trade, but it would make sense for this team. Just if we had a better cap situation, I would do it. Okay, so our last pick of the draft, there is a gem that's apparently here. So, I think I might just take him just because he's a gem. I don't know anything about this guy, though. So, it's an unknown gem that's 19 years of age. He is a guaranteed sniper, though. Let's just take him. Marco Kreutzer. Low elite, 52. Let's go. That might be a decent pick there if that guy pans out. Wasn't expecting him to be a low elite, but since he was a gem, I had to take him. So there's a solid pick. So we got a couple good low elites like Hawks fan was mentioning. So a pretty solid draft for this team, I'd say, in terms of building up some prospects. We got Lynch, Mestre, Punovs, Bolig, Kavana, Schutz, Rousseau, and Kreutzer. So a couple low elites, a couple low top 6 forwards, and some extra guys as well. So not a bad draft. Now we got to get into the resign stage, though. This is where it's going to get a bit dicey, and then we got to take a look at free agency for next episode as well. Okay, so what do we got to do for this resign stage? Shelley's the least priority. We only have 45 million in cap space. Man, we are screwed here. Let's just qualify all our RFAs. Spalling more than likely, Hordachuk and Burkov, for sure Hordachuk and Burkov are going to make it back onto the roster, but Spalling, I think he should be probably on the bottom 6 this season, which means I think McGillis is gone for sure, which is unfortunate because he's been here for a long time. We are going to sign Voloshenko to his ELC. He's a 73 and 19. Get him into the AHL right away, might as well. And then the rest of these guys I'm going to wait on, especially Lynch, because if Lynch gets a good year of growth, goes up to a 78, then that would be really nice. Maybe he'll bypass the AHL altogether. And then, do we need to sign those guys? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. And the rest of those guys we're going to leave on for now. But UFA-wise, this is where it gets a little bit concerning. This is where we're going to eat up a lot of our money. So let's go with some of these prospects that aren't going to make it. Low top 4, 61 at 20, probably not. Yeah, so Korea, best of luck in getting a contract somewhere. Bits is medium elite, but 61 at 21 isn't that great. But I think I got to sign him just because of the potential. So we'll sign him up. I'll try and sign some of these guys in the AHL backup as well, just to make sure that AHL team is as deep as possible. I guess I gotta let go of Koltsov though, because he's 28, but I will try and re-sign him for the AHL, as well as some of these other AHL legends like Ortmeyer needs to stay there if possible. And then we got our NHLers. This is where it's gonna get pretty expensive. So first and foremost, I would really like to bring back Gage Penner. He's only 26, and he's been not too bad of a player in his first 2 years in the NHL. AHL-wise, he was a lot better, but I got to re-sign him just in case. Yeah, he's relatively cheap, so we should be able to get him back easily. McGillis, so like I said, I think McGillis' time here is done, because what is he wanting right now? 2.95 is actually not terrible, but we might need that money for one of these bigger guys, so I'm going to wait on McGillis for now. This Bohms guy I don't really need, so I'm going to let him go, and I need to sign one of my unsigned goalies just to replace him. So let's sign Donovan up, because Donovan might not be able to play in the AHL yet. I don't know. There's also Byrne. I could just sign them both. I don't know if I want to sign them both yet. But yeah, UFA-wise, we got some big ones to do. So first and foremost, what does Austin Matthews want? 9.2 for 1 year. It's not bad. considering he'd be playing on either our first or second line. What does Shelly want? Shelly wants 9.5, but for 1 year he wants 9.2 as well. Shishkinov is a big piece of his team. He wants over 11 still. And then Bentley, what is Bentley wanting? Oh, Bentley wants more than what we were just looking at. 8.75 or 8.5 for what year? So between Bentley and Matthews, one of the two of them has got to go, I'd say. And then I think I might not bring back McGillis. I don't know, because McGillis doesn't even want an extension. But we are going to give Shelly his contract for sure, I'd say. Yeah, I think we're going to give Shelly his contract for sure. I think I'm going to give him another 1 year deal just to play it safe, so we're not juggling the cap situation too much. But I know he's going to be a good player. I want him to retire almost with this team, but I don't really know like if he's part of the plans long term. And then Shishkinov, we could always just try and get him to a 1 year deal. But, 10 million. So he wants 10. Shelly wants 9. That's 19. Matthews wants 9. That's 28 million. And then Bentley, we might actually be able to re-sign most of these guys, if I'm doing my math right, because all these guys are going to be making relatively cheap contracts. So I might be able to get mostly everybody back on a 1 year deal if I want to re-sign all these guys back, or some of them I might sign longer term. The only thing is, are we going to have too much players? Probably, so we might have to trade away some people in the next episode. But let's give contracts to everybody here almost if we can. But first, let's prioritize getting Shelly back. Do I want to give him a 4 year deal? I kind of do, because I want him kind of to retire with this team, but he might be regressing soon is the only thing. Let's give him a 2 year deal and talk him down to a 9.3. Shishkinov, I like you. You're only 27, but you probably will retire kind of young, I feel like. So I'm going to only give you a 1 year deal for now, which might be problematic. We might end up losing him next offseason. But let's do 1 year at 10.5. Bentley. Right, actually, Bentley or Matthews. Let's just do Matthews first. 1 year. Let's try and talk him down to 9.1. And then I'm going to wait on Bentley and McGillis, but I think I might be able to afford everybody back on this roster, to be honest. Let's advance it in and see if we get them. Looks like we got Matthews back in, some of the other guys. I didn't read them all out. Shelly rejected, but we did get back Matthews, and we did get back Shishkinov. And yeah, we do still have a lot of cap space. Penner also rejected, which is unfortunate. Let's give him a little bit more money. Let's see if he'll accept that. We'll get back Shelly as well, like I said. I could do a 4 year deal. I honestly feel like I should be giving him a 4 year deal because he's the best goal scorer in Arizona Coyotes franchise history. But I don't know if he's worth signing for that long term. So let's give him a 3 year deal instead then. And we'll give him 9.5, which might be expensive. We do need still defensemen, so actually I might have to let go of Bentley and McGillis. Let me try and get Ariel Ortmeyer back on a max AHL deal. Like that. Wait. Yeah, like that. Just because I want to make sure the AHL team is still as competitive as possible. And Sims as well, please. Let's give you 1050. There you go. Okay, so yeah, I think McGillis and Bentley are probably the two that need to go. Because once we sign Shelly, then we are knocked down a lot more in cap space. We might end up just trading away somebody that's making a lot of money, like, I don't know who. But somebody might have to go to that. Let's advance a day, I think. Yeah, let's advance a day, see if we get Shelly back. And it looks like we are not going to get him back yet. Wow. Yeah, Shelly might be gone if he keeps on rejecting these contracts. $24 million. Let's see. Shelly, come on, man. Maybe he just wants to test the free agent market. I don't even know. I don't want to overpay on him. Come on, Shelly. Let's do a 1 year deal then, and I'll give you 9.8 for 1 year. And then, yeah, Bentley and McGillis, I think, are guaranteed to be gone just because we need money for defensemen. So, let's see. Shelly is going to accept that 1 year deal. Perfect. Okay, so Bentley and McGillis are gone for sure because all these RFAs need money, and like I said, we need defensemen. So best of luck to both these guys in free agency. Bentley was just a random signing a few years ago, has won 2 Stanley Cups with us, but he has been progressively getting better, so he deserves a chance to go sign with somebody else. But definitely is going to hurt to lose him because he was like our third line scoring forward. So, but now he's like listed as a second liner. So he's gone, and then McGillis, we drafted him at 37th overall back in 2024. He's been like a perfect fourth line kind of guy. Had some clutch goals in the playoffs before, but 200 points with us. Pretty solid, and 20 points in the playoffs. Yeah, it's going to suck to lose him as well, but we got to let both of them go just because I think we need to have a decent offseason in terms of signing a good defenseman if we want to. So we're going to let both those guys go, and then all these RFAs are just going to stay qualified. And yeah, I think that's good. So let's advance over to free agency now and see what is available and see if there's anything that we can pick up to help out our roster. But yeah, I think it only makes sense to let go of those guys. So let's see what we got here. Let's go to first our contract situation, see what we got for our roster so far and what we actually need. Okay, so let's see what we got. So we got for centers, we got Geeky, Matthews, Penner, Dalmo, Spalling, and then Appleby could potentially make it. Bykov could be technically a depth forward, but technically at the moment we do have 5 centers. We have 6, 7, 8. We got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I think we might be okay on the forward count because we more than likely will have to scratch Dalmo. And then we would be probably, Yoshimura is definitely going to make it into the lineup, but we'll have to probably play one of the right wingers as a left winger, which might be Shelley. I don't know. Might be proof a little bit problematic on that stage. A lot of our team is on 1-year deals, which is kind of weird, but and there's that. And defensively, yeah, see, defensively is where we're going to need help on because Burkov and Hordachuk, what are they asking for right now? Not terrible, actually. 3 years at 2.1 is actually okay. But would Burkov be a UFA by the end of it? No, he's still an RFA by the end of it. You know what? I'm going to give Burkov already a contract extension if he wants it. I'm going to wait out on Hordachuk because I don't know if he's worth that 2.3 yet. But once we get Burkov and Hordachuk back, our defensive core basically has Bilesma, Sasaki, Burkov, and Hordachuk, and Jankomov's. Festerling could technically make it as a depth defenseman, but we do technically, I feel like, need that one stud defenseman, which we haven't had since like Chikrin. So we got to find our way to pick up a couple defensemen, I think, in free agency. And other than that, though, I think our roster's pretty good. So yeah, I don't think we really need a whole lot. Let's just take a quick look at what's available in free agency. I'll also show you guys the trading block just in case we want to make trades instead, and then that'll be it for this episode. So let's see what we got for everything just in case, but I feel like we don't need any forwards, but I do think we need at least like a number 1 defenseman. So center-wise, the best is Suzuki, but there's a lot of older guys. We don't really need forwards, like I said, but just in case you guys wanted to see, there's a low elite that's 25 and 81 overall. Might be a decent third liner. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think we really need too much in terms of free agency. Unless it's a top defender. That's why I had to let go of Bentley, is to make money for a defenseman. So, hey, look, it's Lawrence. Oh, no, it's not our Lawrence. I thought it was Drew Lawrence for some reason, but it's Josh Lawrence. Nazarov, 77 low elite, but 25 already. Okay. What about left wingers? Best is Brady Tkachuk. There's also Coyle, but this guy's going to want a lot of money. He's an RFA, it looks like. So let's actually change that to UFA. Make it a little bit easier on us. Tyrell. Looks like there's some pretty solid players out there for forwards, but I don't think any of these guys are worth bringing in more. McGillis only wants a 1-year deal at $3 million, but I don't know if we could bring him back or if we really need to. With the amount of younger guys coming up in the NHL, like Yoshimura, for example, he needs a roster spot, or else we'll have to trade away somebody. So there you go on the left wing front. Right wing wise, anybody interesting? Best is Patrick Laine and Capo Caco. Interesting. Yoshi. So there's that. Defensively, the best available is not that great. The best available is an 83 in Nils Lundqvist. We could always bring in a defensive defenseman like Reinen. He does fit our top 6 potentially. What is Lundqvist like? Doesn't fit anything. But yeah, there's definitely top 4 defensemen, but I don't know if these guys are really worth the $6 million cap hits a lot of them want. Yeah, I don't know if there's actually any good defensemen out there. There's our former defenseman in Tyler DeMaio, who just came off a cup win, I think, in Columbus. But he won $6.9 million, which is a lot of money for an 81. Medium elite 80 overall, 5.5. What the heck? There's not a lot of good players out there on the defensive market, which means our defensive core might be a little bit iffy unless there's somebody on the trading block. And then goalie-wise, in case you guys wanted to see the goalies available, we could always bring in a goalie, but then we'd have to probably get rid of either Korea or whatever that other Russian goalie is. Forgetting his name now. But there is the goalies available. Let's take a quick look at the trading block, and then that'll be it for this episode. So, what is out there? Any good defenseman that could help us out? Texier's on the block, nothing there. Boston, Ryan Merkley on a 1-year deal, maybe the best option out there, but he doesn't look like he fits our defensive core. Bernard Docker, and then standard, so some just top 6 defenders. Nothing really there in Calgary, I don't think. Yeah, nothing really there. Nothing in Carolina, nothing in Chicago, nothing in Colorado. Joel Farabee for forwards, but we don't need him. Isaac Lundstrom and Lucas Reichel. Nothing really there in Detroit. Edmonton, really nothing either. Florida, nothing. LA has Oliver Wahlstrom, but we don't need forwards. Minnesota, nothing. Montreal, nothing. Nashville, nothing. Seems like nothing on the block and nothing in free agency, which is unfortunate. So we might have to try and trade for somebody that's not on the block. Maybe. So Viverios and Holtz, so some more forwards. Breland 86, 3 years. 3 years. He's a DFD though. That's a bit expensive for a DFD. That's an 86, I feel like, but could be wrong. What else we got here? Jamie Drysdale, 2 years left. I don't know if I like the 2 years, but Pressburg. That's our former defenseman, right? Didn't we have him? Yeah, we had him for 22 games, and then he got paid $5 million. What the heck? Damn. Albrecht. Interesting. Francisco Pinelli. Some more forwards there in Philly. Nothing there in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot out there for defensemen in terms of both the block and free agency, which is unfortunate. Because we're going to have to try and find a way to get ourselves a better defensive core. Oh, Genoway is only on a 1-year deal, so we could have technically made that trade and brought in Genoway if we wanted to, but I would be really close to the cap situation, cap hit right now, if I did bring him in. Nothing in Vancouver, nothing in Vegas, or Washington, or Winnipeg, so not really a whole lot to choose from in terms of defensemen there, and not a lot either in free agency, so I really don't know what this team is going to do in terms of addressing that defensive core, because that's probably my biggest concern with this roster right now, because Sasaki and Bilesma, I'd say, are a good second pairing. Jankumov, Festerling are more depth defenders, and then you got Burkov and Hordichuk, who are more top 6 defensemen. So we kind of want to find guys that are like over 83, but there's not really any of them out there. So I really don't know what to do in terms of the defensive core, but maybe there's somebody else that we could find that's not on the block to trade for. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to free agency, and we will sim some of the season and see how this team does, and hopefully we can get back to a cup finals again soon. If not, hopefully we could at least get some good growth from a lot of our younger lowlights and prospects. And yeah, hopefully this team is going to look good again pretty soon. So let me guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.